The events in this film takes place in the distant future, and it follows the ordeals of the surviving passengers of the Hunter Gratzner spacecraft. Aboard the spacecraft is a Muslim priest named Abu, traveling with 3 young pilgrims to Mecca. There is also Jack, Shayza, Sikh, Paris, a wealthy merchant, and Johns, who is a police officer charged with transporting a violent criminal named Richard Riddick back to Earth. All these passengers and crew are being cryogenically preserved. Unfortunately, the spacecraft is hit by a swarm of micrometeoroids, and as a result, parts of the ship get damaged. The pods begin to wake the passengers, but the ship's captain is killed. The first officer, Owens, assumes control of the spacecraft alongside an assistant pilot, Caroline Fry. Fry doesn't have much experience with landing a crashing ship, but she does what she can and crash lands on a nearby planet. Many passengers die in the process, as Johns, Riddick, Paris, Imam, the 3 pilgrims, and a few others survive the crash. They search for other survivors and find a mortally wounded Owen bleeding out. He dies in Fry's arms, and she is devastated. Fry joins the others outside, and they see that the planet is deserted. They make plans to move out and search for signs of life. But then Riddick escapes from where Johns had left him restrained. Johns explains the nature of Riddick's crimes and tells the others that he has to be found because his escape is a threat to their safety. The survivors then split up into 2 groups. One group stayed behind to bury all the dead passengers while the other searched for Riddick and hopefully some water source. Johns, Fry, Imam, and the boys stumble upon some trees and decide to go closer to investigate. On getting there, they find out that the area appears to be a communal graveyard, and that the trees are actually snags. They explore the area and discover a robotic toy covered by sand over time. This gave them hope that humans had once been in this area, so they expanded their search. They eventually find an abandoned settlement, and when they go in, they realize it was once a geological research center. Luckily, they find the source of a water well, and Fry discovers a dropship. She realizes quickly that it would need a lot of work before it can actually fly. Back at the spacecraft, Sikh shoots one of the survivors by accident. He then proceeds to bury him, but in the process, he discovers a hole in the ground. He goes in to investigate and is attacked by some unknown creatures. He fires his gun, and this attracts Shayza, who rushes in his direction. When she gets there, she doesn't find Sikh, but sees that Riddick is standing nearby with a sharp snag. He runs for it because he would be blamed for Zek's disappearance, but Johns arrives and subdues Riddick by taking off his glasses. It is revealed that Riddick suffers from an extreme sensitivity that doesn't allow him to see under the sunlight. He is captured and taken back to the ship. Fry enters and questions him. At first, he is reluctant, but eventually reveals the events he witnessed after Fry threatens to leave him behind. Fry is shocked, but goes to the other survivors. They decide to check the hole out to ensure that Riddick isn't lying. Fry enters the hole and finds the scattered remains of Zek's body. She is pulled out in time to escape the creatures in the hole. The survivors now understand that there is a huge threat they have to deal with. Riddick is a strong man, so Johns goes back to strike a deal with him to join the others' fight together to survive. Riddick agrees and is set free. The survivors immediately work on removing some power cells from their spacecraft and make their way to the dropship. Fry strategizes on how to appropriately sync their power cell to the dropship. She manages to get it started just enough to run a system check, but finds out that they would need 5 more power cells before the dropship can fully operate. Shayza, Johns, and a few others volunteer to go back and get the power cells. The other survivors who stay behind find some booze, and they begin to cool off. Fry doesn't join them because she has some concerns. She knows something is wrong because of why and how the previous settlers left without their dropship. She meets Johns with these concerns, and as they go over the possibilities, Riddick interrupts them and informs them that the only likely explanation is that they must have all been killed by the creatures they discovered in the hole. Imam joins them and says that one of his boys is missing. They rush to find him and come across a room where the boy is being attacked. By the time they open it, the boy is dead, and the creatures go into hiding. At this point, they realize that the creatures are sensitive to sunlight and would not be safe when it gets dark. In distress, they begin to search for more clues on how to survive the creatures. They find an orrery that shows them that an eclipse that comes around every 22 years is about to occur. To their disappointment, they learn that since it is two planets moving together, this particular eclipse would last for up to a month. They are now determined to get the dropship in the air as fast as possible, as they only have a few hours of sunlight left. Johns pulls Fry aside and tells her to watch out for Riddick, as he is capable of anything, including stealing the ship for himself and abandoning them just so he can escape justice on Earth. Soon after, she runs into Riddick and asks him if any of what Johns told her is true. He admits that he had stolen a ship before and even killed its pilot for selfish reasons. But he adds that she shouldn't trust Johns either because he isn't actually a law enforcement officer but a mercenary. She is upset but has more important things to do than confront Johns. The survivors go outside and see that the eclipse is about to start. They use the solar-powered and truck to return to the spacecraft to get some things they would need for the voyage. As they are about to head back to the settlement, the eclipse starts. As such, they are trapped because the truck wouldn't be able to work now that the sun is covered. As the creatures begin to emerge from hiding, the survivors start to run into the hull of the spacecraft. Shazer trips, and as she falls, the creatures attack her. The others make it inside and begin to plan how to make it back to the settlement. Fry suggests they stick to the original plan and take the power cells back to the settlement so they can use the dropship. Johns disagrees and tries to attack her but is threatened by Riddick. Everybody then agrees to be led by Riddick because of his heightened sight in the dark. They salvage some lighting rods from the spacecraft and create a defensive rig that can keep them safe while they walk back to the dropship. This walk was not as easy as they were hoping, as Johns, Paris, and the last of Imam's pilgrim boys were killed in the process. Riddick had to leave Fry, Imam, and Jack behind in a safe cave so that he could lure the creatures away. He is successful and arrives at the settlement, where he gets to work on the dropship. Fry remembers John's warning and uses a jar of bioluminescent worms to go after Riddick. She stops him just as he is about to take off and begs him to wait until the others can make it there. He tells her to come with him, but she refuses. Luckily, she manages to reach him, and the two go back to get the others. They do this, but just as they are all about to enter the dropship, Fry is stabbed and abducted by one of the creatures. Riddick is upset and leads the others into the dropship. Once inside, he waits for the creatures to cluster around the dropship. Once this is achieved, he activates the engine, which sets the surrounding creatures on fire and kills them. The three survivors then make their escape and head back to Earth. Thanks for watching. Please comment below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this movie. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel as well and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos like this.